So here's something that I've been playing with as a way to help my parts relax deeper into trust. And essentially, it's like a process of hand holding where nobody is holding the parts, they're just recognizing the truth of reality, which is the inherent peace and the spontaneous, effortless unfolding. That is already the case. We're just under the binding spell that it is not so, that there's actually a separate self here that is managing and doing, and everything that we have done right, we take credit for, and everything that we seemingly have done wrong, we blame ourselves and others for, right? And this is the pathway to that liberation actually leads through that redemptive love, as Adyashanti would call it, or forgiveness and atonement, in Christian language. It's all the same. It's just shining the light of love on everything, realizing that it was just love, just that eternal presence experiencing itself in a myriad of ways all along. So there's never really anything that went wrong, that could have gone wrong. Everything is unfolding according to this divine, perfect plan. And this isn't a theory, this is something that is felt. I really want to stress that because it can sound like a lot of words. And I appreciate that it does. It sounds like a theory, right? Until you actually have the felt sense yourself. It's sort of like when you're struck by lightning, you stop questioning, it no longer is a theory, right? Of electricity, it becomes a felt experience. And I have another video on this, how teaching such as this one, they're just pointers, right? Just like the classical pointer about pointing. We're getting very, recursive or meta, whatever you want to call it, of the finger pointing to the moon is not the moon, right? It's just a finger. So if you focus on the finger, you'll miss the moon. You'll miss what the finger is pointing to. So that aside, what I wanted to talk to you about today are dreams. I've never been much into dream analysis. I was gonna say dreams, but that's not entirely true. I had a period in my teenage years when I was fascinating with lucid dreaming. If you don't know what that is, look it up because it's mind-blowing. It's also part of this journey for me anyway. It was probably one of the first experiences when I was only a teen where like a mini awakening, not necessarily to spirit. I didn't have the, conceptual framework to even know what was going on, but just essentially what lucid dreaming is waking up within the dream. We're talking about like the literal dream that we have at night. You wake up in the dream, but you're still inside the dream. You just realize that, holy shit, this is a dream. I know that I'm in my bed sleeping right now, and this is the dream world. And it's insane. Like that was the first experience where you kind of realize, wow. And at that time, what was mind blowing to me then was how I explained it to myself. My mind's capacity to conjure such a vivid reality, which seemingly is playing out only inside of my mind. And just that pure, I don't know, like processing power of the brain to be able to hallucinate such a vivid reality. Of course, that framing has shifted and changed now. It lends itself beautifully as a analogy for the greater mind, in which all of us are dream characters, right? It's, God dreaming his own, weaving his own dream of all of us, of humanity, of everything that's going on. And it is a beautiful analogy because it's literally the same. The way that you sleep at night and you imagine you're walking through streets of Paris, right? And you're meeting a bunch of people that some of you might know, some of you don't. And then you wake up the next day and you realize that was all just a figment of your imagination, right? So this is what non-dual teachers point to as the dream-like state of this reality that we find ourselves in as well, because it's essentially no different. We're just inside of a dream, inside the mind of God, so to speak. And again, I hope you're with me that God is not a bearded man in the sky. It is just that infinite intelligence that is dreaming this reality. And all the people you know, whether it's friends and family or the strangers on the streets, it's all the same, right? It's consciousness appearing as Milo, consciousness appearing as Richard, as Rebecca, and so it goes. So how do I use this, and when I say I use this, this is just like an unfolding that I recognized recently, and it's not, there's nobody using this, but it's what seems to unfold as the next step here in that deepening of trust, like a helpful device, right? That's really what it is. It's not even a tool. That kind of implies that I, found this tool and I'm using it. It's more like it's a device that lends itself for this um letting go into a deeper sense of trust. And it's a very simple realization, namely that as I have gotten into dream journaling, which is something that I haven't been that heavily into before, now with the use of AI, I've devised a chatbot that is specialized, so to speak, in uncovering the hidden subconscious symbols and imagery that through which our inner world speaks to us at night, right? That's the whole, Freudian, Jungian psychology. It's all about uncovering the subconscious, and it's so rich. Like I could record a whole episode about that in itself, how seemingly unimportant stuff, the stuff of regular dreams, your bike getting stolen, brakes not working in the car you're driving, you being in the car in the back seat as opposed to in the driver's seat on the passenger seat, talking to somebody you know from childhood, talking to a stranger that is a magician, missing the train, forgetting to wear pants, that stuff, right? Which you wake up the next day and you're like, huh, what? And then I feed it into this bot, and I'll drop a link to it below. It's totally free of charge. It's a custom GPT to be used with ChatGPT, I believe. You just need a free account to use it. Like I'm making no money whatsoever on this. It's freely available. But if you're curious, check it out. Just input your dream, add a little bit of context, right? So if you bumped into your ex, describe what she symbolizes to you, youth, excitement, adventure, betrayal. If you bumped into a friend that symbolizes status and prestige and discipline, then mention that. And the rest, the AI actually, draws from the knowledge of that deep subconscious symbols and imagery. So you don't have to do anything else. Just tell it what happened in your dream. And you might be surprised what comes back. I've certainly happened. And so again, I'm kind of bringing this back into the deepening of trust because as I recognize after waking up, after recording the dream, and you can just send a voice note, right? Like you don't even have to type. It's so convenient. This is why I've been getting into it now lately because I don't have to journal. I don't have to unpack it myself. I just wake up. I leave a 2 minute voice note, and I get this whole analysis back. It's fantastic. Like what a time to be alive. And the trust shows up in the way that as I wake up and I get this rundown of the symbols and imagery in my dream, and I recognize that everything in the dream happened perfectly from the vantage point of me inside of the dream, the unawake state. It might have seemed random, it might have seemed scary, I might have had a preference. Like, gosh, somebody stole my bike. Are you kidding me? That's horrible. Or I'm late for school, I'm gonna miss my exam, and just the tension and worry and anxiety, and then you realize, wow, it's my subconscious processing my hero's journey, so to speak. It is teaching itself to itself in a way. It's very gently moving through subliminal spaces of initiation, of right, of deeper intuition, deeper understanding, stepping into, stepping out of, transitioning, all of that. And it's so beautifully symbolized in our dreams. It's not just a rehash of what's happening in waking state. Reality to me feels much more important. It is a deeper symbological unfolding of our rite of passage as souls. And so as I noticed that everything was deeply meaningful, from the stolen bike to the, losing control of driving the car, or missing that train, or bumping into this friend at the moment that I was on the phone with another friend, it's so beautifully intricate and connected in the most intelligent and meaningful way. And you recognize that you can just trust that. If I wouldn't only remember to trust that in the dream, I could just relax and I could enjoy the dream much more. And yet, even if I didn't remember, even if I forgot myself, right? Like that's the beauty of it. That too was not a mistake. Sure, my pulse increased and maybe I was scared, maybe it was nightmarish, but that doesn't make it wrong. That was it served its purpose as that vehicle for a deep inner alchemy and transformation, right? Like that fear, that event, that no matter what plays out, whether it's the highest ecstasy or the lowest lows in your dream, it serves the purpose of that grander arc of the story that's unfolding. And so the invitation is, can we use that as an analogy for awakened state life? That no matter what happens, can we welcome it? Can we go through the motions? Can we roll with the punches? Feel the anxiety, not push at it. Feel the fear, feel the anger, feel whatever afflictive emotions, including the highs, right? Can we enjoy the bliss? Can we enjoy all of it? Essentially, that's what I'm pointing to. Trusting that it is divine. It is orchestrated by a divine intelligence far greater than we will ever understand. And we don't have to, right? Because certainly they're for me, for sure, there are parts that are continuously trying to understand as this opens up into vaster and vaster planes of mystery. There, there are parts that very sweetly try to catch up and they're trying to make sense of it. They're trying to put it into a framework, into something useful. They're trying to co-opt it, right? They're trying to make a video about it. And that too is part of the story. This is already the alchemizing happening, right? This is alchemy happening for Milo recording this video, and it's alchemy for you, dear viewer, on the other end. You're supposed to be watching this video and something is shifting, something is happening. I am a character in your dream, appearing to you, speaking about this for some deeper reason. And that's just beautiful. If you can touch that, if you can feel that, how deeply meaningful each instant of your day is, then it's just wow. Like literally, I don't think our brains can quite comprehend that. It's like touching infinity, like we can't hold that in our heads. So I'm not sure if this is coming across clearly. Please drop a comment below if you have questions, if you want to follow up, or if you have any comments whatsoever. I always appreciate connecting this way. But where I was going with this is noticing the trust that's here. Can we actually hold that belief, not push it, not enforce it, not blend with our spiritual achievers that say, hey, our life would be much better if we trusted in this way, but as an invitation to just play with that during the day. Hey, no matter what happens, whether it's good or bad, and notice how that's just a thought, right? That's a thought that arises within the dream, so to speak. That, oh, that shouldn't have happened. That's subtle resistance, right? And just noticing, hey, what if this was supposed to happen? What if this is all happening for me? Not to me, for me. And even if I don't get it now, I might get it later. Why it's unfolding in this way. And essentially, we're just letting go and surrendering to the flow of life. We're flowing with the river rather than swimming upstreams because we think that's better, that's the way, that's the direction we should be going in. And instead just go for the free fall. If you had, if you fully 100% believed that this was a dream, can you just like close your eyes now and imagine how would you be showing up to your life, to in your reality differently if you felt like it was just a dream, that you're safe, it's inconsequential what happens, there's nowhere to get to, this is just dream stuff, this is just play, this is just a story unfolding. How would you live your life? How would you walk through your life differently? How would you walk and speak and act if you had that deep trust that this is but a dream and that you're eternally resting as that which is? You're always safe because you can only ever encounter parts of yourself. and there's nowhere to get to. It is all you eternally spinning web of stories and illusions and dramas and forgetting and remembering and leaving our abode as that which knows itself as that, and forgetting ourselves, falling from grace into ignorance, and then coming back around, having an awakening, realize what we have seemingly forgotten. Can we vibe with that? Can we vibe with the flow of life that plays itself out in this way? And I know that depending on the day, this either sounds exciting, enticing, marvelous, awe-inspiring, jaw-dropping, mind-blowing, and on another day it sounds like total BS. It sounds like a bunch of words that don't make a difference, that totally miss the point because the suffering is so great. And I totally get that. And to me, where I am with this right now, that's part of the mystery, right? Like why is a human question, right? Like why do we forget ourselves? And I don't really think, in those moments of true alignment and just becoming the river, not even flowing with the river, but becoming the river of life, I notice that it's not so much that the question is answered, it dissolves. The question is something that the character asks itself. Life doesn't ask why. Life just is. Life just flows. The river doesn't ask, why am I a river? Why do I flow like this? It just flows. But of course, we can make a concession, right, for the human mind. And I think that the closest concession to truth, if that's even fair to say, if you ask me, why, is for the right. Like there is no why in a sense. But if like that's if we force my hand and I really need to speak to this, then I guess it's for the joy of forgetting ourselves and coming back. There's such a beauty in the coming back, in remembering this. There's such immense, profound beauty that is incomparable with the best movie, wine, book, sex, substance, whatever human experience you've had. And I'm obviously only speaking from my own experience, but I've had my fair share of peak experiences in life, right? And the experience of waking up and coming back to the truth of my being, of our being, of the very fabric of life, it's the different level. It's beyond. It's beyond, beyond, beyond. And I would not have that. It would not affect me in the same way. It would not make Milo cry 5 days in a row each morning over meditation, over reading poetry or a spiritual text or whatever. And it's funny. I would laugh at myself some years ago, like I'm not that guy, so I thought. And when this begins to open and begins to touch something inside, it is so mesmerizingly beautiful that suddenly all the suffering that seemed to be necessary for this unfolding to happen is suddenly seen as grace, like a gift, like a treasure. And there's nothing but gratitude. Because if I didn't contract and I didn't lose myself and I didn't forget, I didn't leave, then I would not be able to come back, right? So that's my take. We play this game of forgetting so that we can remember. Let me know what you think below. Drop a like, help me grow my channel, and see you in the next one.